I am right now playing a huge chess tournament in Sweden, and I have one goal, and that is to win the tournament. Now, this is obviously a very difficult thing to do. I have never in my life won a tournament, like ever. But I was ranked 7th in the starting rank, meaning that there's only 6 more people that are higher rated than me here. So I have a real chance of winning the whole thing. Now, today, I was playing against a 1900 called Peter Wisdahl from Sweden, who yesterday had beaten a 2050 and had an accuracy of like 95%. So I knew that round number 4 was going to be very tough. But I also knew that if I won today, I would be on 3.5 out of 4 points, which would be an absolutely fantastic result and would, in the middle of the tournament, set me at a really good score. So I did a lot of preparation this morning, and I was 100% sure that he was going to play the Nimzo. So I started with d4, he went knight f6, c4, and now I was expecting e6. With a big smile on my face, I was so ready for it. But instead, he decided to play c5. And I thought, oh no, he's prepared against me because this guy does not play the banco. Like this guy, this is not what he plays. I've seen his games, I know what he plays. He does not play like this. What is going on? Something is a bit weird. So I went d5 and I was like, maybe he will play the Benoni with e6, which would maybe be a bit of a more similar position to Nimzo lines, but he played b5, the banco. And I just thought, you know, this is crazy. This is like actually crazy. He's definitely prepared a lot. Like this is very fishy. So I started getting really nervous because I just did not really know exactly what to do. And I decided ultimately that I had to play like normal. So he went a6, and now what he thought that I was going to play was the Nescafe Frappe attack, which sounds like an absolutely insane opening, but it is a real chess opening, and it is pretty bad actually for white if black knows exactly what to do. So I typically do not play this in classical games, but he didn't know this. So I went e3 and thought that maybe I have been able to stop his preparation. Maybe he will start thinking now. But I looked at his face, and he was as confident as ever when he just immediately played e6. He was not surprised at all. So I thought, oh no, he must have seen my game from the European Team Chess Championship when I played this, which was just like a month ago. He has prepared. And at this point, he was just blitzing out the moves. He was playing so quickly, so confidently, and I was thinking. And I just thought that he had gotten the upper hand out of the opening. So I was pretty sad about that. And he went c4 here, and this is a move that apparently is the best move in the position. This is theory, but I had never seen. So here I spent 20 minutes thinking. I did an Anna Cramling thing, I spent a lot of time thinking, and my opponent, he was walking around, getting coffee, enjoying life. You know, he was playing really fast, very confident. He was super happy about this. So I ended up, after thinking for a long time, I ended up going for this move e4. Now this is an inaccuracy. The reason for this being a mistake, and the only reason for it, is because he can capture my b5 pawn. So the best line here is actually for me to first take this pawn and then go e4, because the idea of e4 in itself is pretty good. The idea is that if he captures, I will be going knight g5 and I will be able to win back this pawn. And if he tries to defend it, well then this pawn will fall. So I'm basically just weakening all of his pawns. And this is also very thematic, especially when he has a pawn on c4, as if this pawn leaves, then this pawn will not be defended anymore. So here, I thought that he was going to spend some time thinking. I thought that, okay, finally I must have made a move that surprised him. He was walking around, and he came back to my board here. And in literally like 5 seconds, he just blitzed out bishop b7. And I thought, okay, if he's blitzing out this move, it must be because e4 is theory. I must have found the best move in the position because my opponent just blitzed out bishop b7. I thought we were both just playing theory. But apparently, bishop b7 is a huge blunder. And during the game, I started thinking, is this really that good? Like, I was really surprised because I thought, what happens now if I go e5 and just threaten the knight? Where does the knight go? And so I thought here, okay, you know what? It seems as if I have like a winning position, or not winning, but it seems like I'm much better. But my opponent is blitzing out all these moves. He literally has an hour 30. This is the starting time. What is going on here? But I played e5 with the simple idea that one, my pawn was hanging, and two, I didn't think that this knight had that many good squares. So he won knight d7. And here, I played the best move in the position, which is knight d4, threatening this pawn. I thought if he goes something like queen b6, I will just simply be able to go bishop e3, and the dark squares here are going to be very weak for him. If he captures this pawn, if he goes knight takes e5, which was what I thought he might do, then I have this move, queen h5 check, and after knight g6, I have knight takes e6, and after threatening both the queen and the bishop, and after queen e7, I have queen e2, threatening now knight c7 fork. So this, I thought king f7 is the best move here, but then I thought that this is crazy, you know? He will not be able to castle, and this will just be very, very, very bad. But he ended up, after knight d4, he ended up going knight c5, defending this pawn. And now I am really proud of the move that I found. My brain immediately said, Anna, knight c5, b4. Just threaten the knight, either force the knight to move or force him to go en passant, and then your a file will be open. And now if this pawn disappears, one, my bishop might be able to come to d3 at some point, but two, I will forever defend my b5 pawn. And so I went pretty quickly b4. And I'm really proud that I found this move.
And she played b4. She played b4, and she played it, you know. She played it with 41 minute point 8, I think it is. She played it with 41 minutes and something. She played the best move, b4. I'm so happy to see that she can find these very strong moves.
So he took my pawn, I took back with the a pawn, and he went queen c7, threatening this pawn. Now here, I had 20 minutes less than him, but after I went f4, I just looked at my position and I thought, something has gone wrong for him. This is not how a position should look after 14 moves. I have a fantastic position. So here, my opponent has a lot of problems because I'm threatening b4, forcing this knight to move and taking this pawn. But I mean, not only that, even though this is the biggest threat that I have, I even sometimes might be threatening to take on a6. Like, he cannot really move this knight because then I'll take here and then this pawn will fall. So he went a5 to stop all of these issues. And now I could just simply go bishop e2 and castle, but I ended up going queen h5 check to put some more pressure on this pawn. And here I could see that he started like sweating, like not... I mean, he got nervous, right? So he wasn't like actually sweating, but like he was like nervous. So he got like really nervous and stressed here. And I could see it on him. Like he started like looking at the clock, looking at the position, and everything just felt like, you know, the tables had turned. In the opening, he had been very confident. Now I was the one being very confident. And I was also like sitting with a blazer, and I kind of felt pretty confident here. I was like, this is me now who's pushing for the win. And I was really happy about that. So he ended up spending like 10-15 minutes on this move and went bishop e7. The idea of this is just simply that I cannot capture here because if takes, and takes, then the knight is hanging. So I went bishop d2 to defend the knight. I also thought that my bishop would be pretty good placed here. And here he went king f7. Defending this pawn, because the problem he has is that he really does not have a lot of ways of defending this pawn. He can, for instance, not go bishop c8, because then I go b4 and his rook is hanging. If he goes something like queen b6, then I have bishop e3 and this pin becomes a disaster. If he goes something like queen d7, I have knight a4, threatening to get rid of the defender of the e6 pawn, but also threatening knight b6. All of his pieces are uncoordinated. So he went king f7. And now I thought that it was time for me. I was playing pretty quickly. We had the same amount of time here, 13 minutes. He had thought down all his time. I just thought, I gotta go bishop e2 and then castle and get my king safe. I thought, you know, this position, there must be something. Now, the best thing for me here is actually just to wait. Go rook c1 or king h1 and just put all my pieces on their best squares. But I got a little bit eager here, and I spent 6 minutes thinking about a move that was really forcing, but that I thought was winning. And that was f5. This to me was just the move that my whole body was screaming that I have to do. Because I have all my pieces looking at this king. I have literally the knight, the queen, the rook, the 2 bishops, everything is literally just against this king. And the idea of f5 is that I'm threatening to take here and open up for the rook. But the idea is that if he takes here, if he captures back, I would be sacrificing my knight. And I was ready to do this. Takes, takes, takes. I take back. He has to go king e8, otherwise it's checkmate. And after queen f7 check, knight takes d5. I thought that I'll be able to get 3 pawns for the piece, but this king is just completely naked. I mean, the king has no defenses. I thought this must be winning. And it is. I mean, everything is hanging. He cannot move any piece. This is just absolutely terrible for him. If takes and takes, then, you know, the rook is hanging. So this was just really, really, really bad for him, I thought. So after f5, he did not get into all of these shenanigans, but instead, I remember the word, by the way. There was one video where I didn't remember the word, and then everyone was like, Anna, you're like, this is the move that the word that you're thinking about, and then, you know, but now I know the word. It's a chess term, I think. Okay, so here, he ended up going queen takes e5. And now, after queen takes e5, at first I was shocked because I thought I was just winning on the spot, but then I realized that, okay, he's threatening my knight. I need to be a little bit careful. So he ended up going f takes g6 check. The idea is that after king e8, I had knight f3, and after he moves his queen to g7, because he needs to move somewhere on this diagonal, otherwise I will be going g7 and, you know, win with the fork. If this, I have bishop h6, and after queen here, I have knight e5, and this is plus 10 for me right now. My knight, my bishop, everything is coming in. So here, he ended up actually going h takes g6. And this is the best move in the position. And when he played this, I cannot believe my eyes. I thought, what? Okay, I have to take the queen. Rook takes queen. I took here. And I didn't realize at first that I was a rook up. I thought that I had sacrificed an exchange, and I thought that I was here just an exchange up. But here I am a full rook up. But the thing is that he has this move, knight takes b3, and this is, by the way, very impressive that he found. I was super impressed when he found all of this. This is all forcing rook d1, bishop c5 check, king goes up, and now, after takes and takes, he has d4 check. And I thought this was very impressive. And now, okay, I'm going to be an exchange up, but he's going to have a very scary pawn, and I need to be a little bit careful. So he found the best continuation, and I was shocked when he played this. I was so impressed. So I went bishop f3, knight c6 is the most accurate move, because I want to keep my bishop. I didn't even see it during the game. I only had a couple of minutes left. So I went bishop f3, we traded, I took back with the king to get that piece more active. And now I made kind of a mistake. Here I should go rook a2 to force the rook to stay here. I went rook c2, threatening this pawn. And I missed that here he has the move rook b8. And now I cannot take on c3. Well, I can, but he has this move bishop d4. And here I must see knight c6, but you know, even if he doesn't go here, he has rook takes b5, and now he's going to be playing with this a pawn, and this is pretty difficult for me to win, even though I am an exchange up, because of the fact that my double pawns are, or that my pass pawns are doubled, or my pawns are doubled, because I will win with the pawns. But after rook c2, he missed rook b8. He wanted to defend the pawn, and he went bishop b4, and this was a mistake, and I was really happy when he played this. Because now I was able, I had very little time. I only had 2 minutes left. I had 10 moves to do before the time control. But I found this move, knight c6, which not only forces the pawn to stay here and stops him from advancing, it also stops the rook from entering the game, which is really important. He went knight d7 to get the knight active, and now I went rook b1, which is the best move, just threatening this bishop. And now I will win a pawn. So he tried to activate his knight, and after takes and takes and knight d5, I went rook b1. Just because I wanted to stay on the b file, as I knew that this pawn would be the way for me to get some counter chances. I also quickly realized that if I trade rooks, I should here be winning, because I should, with the king, be able to pick up these pawns and win with my h-pawns. So he went king d7, and here I just started pushing the pawn. b6 is really important. I wanted to completely lock in his pieces. So b6, he went rook f8 check. I was playing here with very little time. I went king e4, he went check, and now really important to go king e5 to get the rook to go to f5. As here, he cannot have the he cannot have the rook on a square where, you know, the knight is defending it. So he has to go rook f5 check, and then I went king d4. And these king moves are very important. If I make a mistake here, I run a chance of losing a rook, because the knight is very tricky. I'm always kind of scared of playing against knights because knights can be very strong, and if you miss something, you know, they're very scary with the forks. So here I went king c8, and now at this position, I played my 40th move, which was b7 check. After this, I had been blitzing out. I was able to finally catch a breath and look at my position. And I knew here that I needed to play very precisely to win this game. So after he went king b8, you know, I went to the bathroom, I got my water, and I, you know, sat down and said, okay, Anna, this is not like a new game. You got time to figure this out. Let's figure this out. I was having this conversation with myself. And the first thing I like to do is that I like to think about the most forcing moves. So the absolute first move that I thought about was rook a2. And I knew that probably I would have to end up playing this, but there was a lot to calculate. Rook a2, the idea of this move is that I am threatening to go rook a8 check and then promote. So I knew that the only thing that he would be able to do is to defend with knight c7. So I ended up going rook a2 check, but I had calculated a lot because he had this move rook f4 check, which I was sure he was going to do. So rook f4, and now I spent like 10 minutes or 15 minutes thinking because I had two options. And these options would decide the game. Either I go king e5 or king c5. And for me to go king c5, I needed to see that I was winning. So I was calculating like a crazy person here. I was, you know, my brain was just going brrr, and, you know, I was hearing people on the, you know, there was someone that was like kept on offering a draw. So every like 5 minutes I heard like draw, draw, draw. So yeah, but my brain was just going crazy at that point. And so I was considering these two moves. I cannot really go anywhere else. I mean, this just makes there I cannot go. Here I lose a rook. So these are my two options. King e5, the reason I did not play king e5 was because of rook b4. And this now I thought would end up being very complicated after takes and takes. I mean, maybe it's not so complicated with an engine, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to calculate all of this. I didn't want to calculate, you know, if I was fast enough with picking everything up and promoting. I didn't want to calculate this. But this is also probably winning. But I went king c5, and I was really proud of my maneuver because I realized that after king c5, everything is forced. He must go knight c7 to defend, you know, the checkmate, or rook a8 and promotion. And now I had seen this move, and I had seen this before I went king c5, rook b3. And now, if he does anything but rook f3, he will lose this pawn. And I knew that if I win this pawn, I'm winning the game. This is the only thing that's stopping me from winning the game right now. If he goes rook f5, I'll go king c6, and this will only help my king. So I was sure that he was going to play rook f3, with also the threat of going c2 and threatening my rook and threatening promotion. If I play something like h4, for instance, I am losing now after c2. This is really important to note. And I was so proud because I had found this maneuver of after rook f3 going rook a3. And now this is completely winning. It is plus 50.
And Anna played. She played this beautiful move. She played this beautiful move, and she played it quickly. Oh, wow, she played it quickly. This is the best move, and Anna played it.
I am threatening right now, checkmate. I'm threatening to go check, king takes, and checkmate. So his only move to not get checkmated is to take this pawn, which, by the way, he did not do. He actually ended up here going c2. But if he takes this pawn, I have rook a7 check, and I think this is really beautiful. And after king b8 or king c8, it doesn't matter. I will go king c6, and there's nobody stopping this checkmate. I mean, I'm threatening right now to go check, pick up this knight, and then checkmate. And he cannot stop it because of the fact that there's no checks over here, or checks over here. His pawns are blocking his rook from checking my king. His best move now is to go rook f7, and now after this, king c8, and just simply rook here, I am just going to be winning the knight, and this is just plus 58 for me. There's nothing he can do. But he actually, in this position, saw that this was already losing. So instead of picking up this pawn, he actually just ended up going c2. I went rook a8, and it almost looked like he had missed the checkmate because he got a little bit shocked and kept on, you know, thinking. But then he ended up finally going king takes b7, and I played rook a7, checkmate. And this was the game. I won. And I thought I was so happy with the endgame. I was so proud of myself for finding all of these maneuvers with the rook. I thought it was really nice, this idea of going king c5 and doubling up my rooks on the a file. So I ended up winning this game and beating this guy that I knew was a strong player. He was definitely, he's been 2100 in the past. I knew he was a strong player. So I am now on 3.5 out of 4 points, and I'm doing a great tournament. Tomorrow it's going to be, once again, a really important game. I'll probably face someone really strong tomorrow, and I'll have the black pieces. So we will see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is also an early round. We're playing at 12 instead of 3 because it's like New Year's. But I am just so happy. I'm so happy with this game. I think I ended up having an accuracy of like 90%. So yeah, this was round number 4, everybody. My opponent was he actually said that the checkmate was beautiful. We were talking a bit after the game, and it was like, Anna, this was well deserved. The checkmate was beautiful. And I got really happy. So yeah, really happy with the game. I'm gonna go have food now, get some rest, and just prepare for tomorrow. Thank you so much once again, everybody, for following me on this journey. I'm live streaming my games every day on my Twitch channel. I am uploading the VODs of those streams on my Anna Cramling Extra channel. So if you want to see this live with commentary, you can watch it over there. I'll link it. And thank you guys so much once again for watching the video. Wish me luck for tomorrow, round number 5. And let's see if I can keep on winning.